The Bombers have won 6 straight and look to make it 7 in a row Friday night at the Madhouse on Matheson. Sellout crowd at Princess Auto Stadium for a rematch to complete the home-and-home series between the Edmonton Elks, who are now visiting the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, following Winnipeg's win 6 days earlier, 27-14 at Commonwealth. And it really all culminated in a fourth quarter where Winnipeg just elevated their game over their opponent. The defense is clicking. The offense maybe starting to get a little bit of continuity. Here's the guy you came to see, the legend, Chris Walby, CFL Hall of Famer, Canadian Football Hall of Famer, Blue Bombers Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor, and the individual amongst three whose jersey number will never be worn again. Hey, old number 63. Can this Blue Bombers defense lift this team and carry them to a Grey Cup championship this season?
Well, look at it. We used to always have a mantra, and the mantra was defense wins championships, offense wins games. And that's been every Grey Cup we've been in, except for the Edmonton game where we killed them 50 or whatever. But having said that, I think the defense has to stand on their head again. I mean, what a game for like Tony Jones and Michael Ayers and all these guys, Michael Griffin. I thought they played great. Obviously, Willie with another pass knockdown that led to a third down, a turnover. He's got 9 he's doing it again, 9 knockdowns. And if you look at who's ahead of him, it's all DBs.
Mm-hmm.
Willie, if he's not sacking the quarterback, and he's got 6 sacks, is still a disruptive force. I don't care. Now, I got a kick out of him. He's on Facebook or Twitter, and he's asking people to vote for him as a fan vote. Man, what's going on, buddy? Come on, man. This is it made me laugh, actually. I said, you're going to get a lot of votes, but to actually go out there and start saying, hey, man, I'm going to give you a sub sandwich, vote for me.
This is what the guys do. This is the world we live in now, where athletes are connected with players, right? Or connected with fans.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I just think it's funny. I was humorous. I looked at it, I said, well, come on, man. You're a stats stand up for yourself. I mean, their defenses, I think their defense is playing exceptionally well. I didn't know that Jordan Younger would be this good, but he is good. Him and Richie Hall have devised a program. And, going back to last week, 2 spies. What a great, great philosophy to have, to go out there and say, you know what? We know that Tre Ford likes to run.
Yeah.
And they took it away. And they said, we said this in our show last week, if they got to force Tre Ford to throw the ball, they got a great chance. And listen, when you're a quarterback, and I'm talking Zach Collaros, outrushes their quarterback, you know things are going good. But do I got some sticking points? Absolutely. 4 turnovers in the first half and only come away 3 points. You know what? I think this offense needs to really take advantage of turnovers. I don't think you're going to get the same amount. I, for one, and I know all the Canadian lovers and all of them, why are we sitting Tre Ford? Well, no, because Tre's, he's going to be a great quarterback. Don't worry about it. But you know what? The guy hasn't played for a while. He's rusty. I actually, tell you the truth, I didn't agree with the move anyway, and I said that on the show last week that I thought the previous 3 games, or even go 2 back-to-back against Calgary, I thought Bethel-Thompson was playing great football, smart football, throwing for almost 500 yards in one game. And then you pull him out, and he's a professional. You put the young kid in because he can run. The Bombers played it to a T, smart. But I think when now McLeod coming back in, he's got these weapons. He's a thrower. This guy can throw a ball. You know what? Won a Grey Cup with Toronto, won something in the XFL. He wants to play. Don't look at him when you see the interview. Are you okay with it? Oh, I was okay with it. It was special. Bullshit. The guy's angry. I know, but nobody wants to sit, right? You know what I mean? I think that Jarius Jackson made the right move. I love the way he talks about it. I love the way he explains how he tells them, I'm going to go with whoever's got a hot hand. And, if you're not playing well, look at, we talked about this off air, GB, just before this. Kevin Brown fumbled. He's got a history of fumbleitis. Fumbles again. One of the turnovers early in the first quarter. Sits, doesn't play again. When you have 6 turnovers, you can't win any football game. I don't care who you're playing. You can play the Winnipeg Rifles; they'll beat you. So, and I know you work. I know you work for the Rifles. There's a little plug for old GB and the Rifles.
Yeah, hey, big win for them this past week, where they captured their first win of the season. McCluskey, their weak side linebacker, first start of the season, he has 3 picks, takes 1 to the house.
Nice.
Defensive player of the week.
I was scared for them. And I know we're off topic a little bit, but I was watching the scores. And the first few weeks, I was like, my God, they're getting spanked.
Different quarterback every week, it seemed. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, God bless them for having a good program. I mean, when we played, it was the old 4 junior teams, right? The Rods, the Hawkeyes, the Fort Garry Lions, the Mustangs, and St. Vital. Now they got the best of everything.
You and I are both Rods alumni, but everybody out there watching today, hit up the live chat. Let us know if you played junior football or minor football or Pop Warner or whatever. Or if your kids are or whatever your memories are, we'd love to see those there. But hashtag rifle up and
baby.
Rods are gods, right?
We were at the old stadium. You were St. James Rods, though, right?
I was, yes.
We had, when I was here, it was over here in East Kildonan.
Okay.
Winnipeg. It was Rods. Winnipeg Rods. It was, but look, there's a lot of alumni. Paul Robson was the one. I mean, there's a lot of great players that play with the Rods, and it's a great program. I know there's every one of the programs have great players.
They do.
Whether it be Fort Garry, St. Vital, or the Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes still cut me that one year. And I still to this day it makes me laugh. They basically sent me when
that's like Michael Jordan getting cut in junior varsity, right?
Well, no, but if you would have seen me at that year, it was my second year of football, and I was I'm going to be honest with you, 6'6", I think I was 195 pounds. Nobody wanted to do drills with me. I was awful. I thought, man, I sucked.
Big lanky kid.
Big lanky kid trying to play D-line. And I thought, but the coach didn't like me for whatever reason. Never did get a chance. But, the best thing happens is Bob Molly does this too. He says he's got a book. Bob Molly, the old teammate of mine. It's called Being Cool with Being Uncomfortable.
Being cool.
And he does a lot of speaking engagements. Yeah, and he talks about, it's the knockdowns that make you stronger.
Yeah.
Now you can just sit down there, you can jump up and get back up and get stronger. That's what I did. But anyway, having said that,
I was going to segue. Speaking of
segue, man.
Speaking of getting knocked down and getting back up off the mat, can Edmonton recover from a 6 turnover day and change quarterbacks and come back to face the Blue Bombers again, this time in Winnipeg, and put together a better offensive game plan? Winnipeg's defense was outstanding. Tony Jones stepping in for Adam Bighill, injured and out for the season. Kyrie Wilson back on the 6-game injured list. He has missed nearly 3 months now with an undisclosed injury. And Tony Jones, Michael Ayers, but Tony Jones, Bluto, this guy is all over the place. He led the game with 11 defensive plays, 7 tackles, one of those on special teams. He had a sack in Edmonton, a fumble recovery, a knockdown of a pass, and an interception. And that INT that we're going to take a look at right now while you tell me what you've seen in Tony Jones was just an incredible effort play that Mike O'Shea praised this past week.
Do you know what, DB, as we're watching this, I want to say something about this kid. This kid, if you ever have a dream come true when a team cuts you unceremoniously like the Elks did, and to come back and play them now and make this play. And this is not just a normal interception where it falls into you. This is an absolutely great athletic play. Watch this, how he dives and makes it. That's just a great play. A nose for the football, great turnover, as you say, all over the football field. We talked about the fact that he's filling in for the legend Adam Bighill. I thought he held him. He did really well last week. I mean, I don't think you can ask any more out of a MAC linebacker, but smart, 33. But that's your dream game, going against a team that thought you weren't good enough to play.
Now, Mike O'Shea talked about it this week. It was this point where, look, quarterback throws the ball.
Yeah.
What do you need to do, right? Like, yeah, you should pursue and tackle, but he said the way that he just turned and ran without even thinking, that's what they coach them to do. He turns, he runs, and because he's moving, he makes that pick. If he hesitated more, watch it again in full speed. If he had hesitated more, he wouldn't have made that play. That is just an incredible
not
effort play from Tony Jones, who has really elevated himself as a top linebacker in this league, I'll say, Chris.
And the thing about it, we talk about their game and their running back and how Kevin Brown got pulled after fumbling. And then you look at this guy, Justin Rankin, who it's right in his hands through no fault of Tre Ford. The ball goes up, but the athletic ability and the awareness, and I love it. You hit it on the head. Every defense says run to the ball. Do not stop running until the whistle goes. And that was a huge turning point. I thought, this kid is going to be a baller. He's a baller. That's what we like to call him. A guy that knows.
Doesn't this just remind you of someone else that wore 33? He's got the same helmet with the vertical bars on the side, right?
Yeah.
Same clear face mask, same dangling mouth guard, just like the other 33. Even the wrapped arms. He looks like Andrew Harris. You wouldn't know the difference if you maybe woke from a coma.
Oh, big from a coma, yeah. Well, sometimes I think I have, but yeah, I mean, I like the way this defense is playing. We talked about that, and I think that, the fact is they're bringing another guy in. I thought it was interesting. They're bringing Devin Adams back.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going with 2 linemen, so Gabe Wallace is not going to play, I guess, and they're going to go with Devin Adams, who has 4 sacks. They realize that the strength of the Edmonton, what's the strength of Edmonton right now? It's running that football. They're number 1 rushing team. So I think you have to rotate these defensive linemen. You got your buddy in there. Say his name. You love his name. Tanner Schmeckel.
Yeah,
there you go.
Can't beat it.
He's back on. And they got that other kid I like, that Owen Hubert. He hasn't been in the lineup for a while, but he's good. But Celestin Habas, he had a great play too. The helmet on the football caused a fumble. That's the fumble I think he caused on Kevin Brown that pulled Kevin Brown out. So I think that he's, they're playing extremely well. Even, guy doesn't get a lot of credit, but watch him as Jake Thomas. He's the longest serving. I think he's got just over 200 games now, which is a remarkable feat for a defensive tackle for anybody in this game. Yeah. So kudos to 95. Jake. Bad. They call him what? Bad body. They call him something. He's got
Fat Boy.
Fat Boy. Yeah. Yeah, it's not something you want to go when you meet your kids. Hey, what's your dad? Would they call you Killer? They call you the Machine? No, they call me Fat Boy.
Isn't that great?
I think it's great, man.
There was this play as well, as Deatrick Nichols said hello, comes in and just absolutely tears the ball from the grasp of Tre Ford. To me, that was maybe the play of the game. Maybe not the bonfire burning point, if you will. But tearing the ball away like that, Deatrick Nichols, just incredible. That's how you play football right there. That's what you want to do. That was just one of many plays that we saw. I pulled up this one too, Chris, during the postgame show. To those out there, if you don't check out the postgame show, I don't know what you're doing. We break down the game live after every game, have a ton of fun, and watch video highlights just like this. This play really stood out to me, and it was seemingly, standard play, Chris. But how about this? Watch 𝘎𝙥𝙤𝙧𝙨. He is the linebacker at the top of the linebacking level there, that second level behind the line. Watch Cramdy. Just a great tackle for loss right there. It's a seemingly, pedestrian play, but just a great job identifying the runner, knowing that he is going to the inside and quickly setting his feet. There you see him change direction, and a perfect form tackle on Kevin Brown. I think it was Kevin Brown at that point. They did end up using 2 running backs, but 𝘎𝙥𝙤𝙧𝙨, there's a Canadian you want to rave about with Tre Ford and Brady Oliveira and so many others. 𝘎𝙥𝙤𝙧𝙨 has been outstanding this year.
Yeah, he has, and deserving all the accolades that are coming his way right now as we get to the end of the season. Toward the end, and people are starting to vote. We talked about the fact there's a fan vote now, and then the CFL has changed it. Now they have all I think it's all CFL now, instead of, it used to be just Western, Eastern Division All-Stars and then all Canadian. Now it's going to be something different. But yeah, I mean, he's in the running. I thought, like I said, they had opportunities, but look at again, this is one of those things we talk about. Never give up on the play and continue. Chase the ball. Good things happen. And that's what's happening to the Bombers right now. I think Tyrell Ford, we talk about Ford and how he played, and I think he was flustered. I think he was flustered big time. I don't think he could read the defense right now. He never got comfortable at all.
Willie Jefferson,
he's got
his numbers didn't jump off the page. He was everywhere in Edmonton. He was everywhere. And it's that 3-man and 4-man pass rush that the Blue Bombers employ. And because you have someone like Willie Jefferson, and then you can rotate in very good pass rushers in Celestin Haba and Taiwan Garbutt and Jake Thomas and now Devin Adams, they're getting home going 3-on-5, going 4-on-5, 3 D linemen, 4 D linemen, just rushing those. And the defense being able to drop a lot of guys into coverage, which is creating those coverage sacks.
Yeah. I think that my point is, like, I like Tre Ford, and like I said, I think he's going to be good. But Ford played like one of those Russian cars, a Lada, I didn't really play good. I just think that the Bombers, and I give credit to the Bombers defense. I mean, they made, Tre, obviously, very uncomfortable, couldn't complete some stuff. But I mean, we watched the one interception, not his fault, threw it to the running back. Then the one that Deatrick Nichols did a great job of wrestling the ball out of his hands. We saw Celestin Haba hit the ball right out of, with his helmet, knocking it out. It's, again, I thought Jarius Jackson, the head coach of Edmonton, hit it on the head. We had 4 turnovers, he said, and we were only down 3 points at the half.
Yeah.
Kudos to the defense, but they also got lucky, right? I mean, obviously 2 field goal attempts by usually very reliable Sergio Castillo, who hits the upright twice.
Yeah, double doing. These I'm just as you keep going, Chris. These are the stats from after the third quarter, just to show people how close this game was going into the fourth.
Yeah, it was crazy when you looked at it. I actually thought they were still in it, and they were.
Yeah,
but
that's why they said they let them off the hook.
Yeah, and that's why I saw that. And it was 17-4. They outscored them in the fourth quarter. Brady took over. They started running the ball, and they couldn't stop Brady. Now I see they're starting to pump him up for MOP, not only outstanding Canadian, and he's going to be in that race. There's no doubt about it, because usually it's a very quarterback dominated award. I don't think there's any. They're talking. Did you see that they're even talking about Bo Levi now?
Yeah,
so it's crazy, man.
Well, no. Some people have suggested him, but no. When to say they are talking about him, I mean, you could say they are saying a lot of things, but. Here was Michael Ayers.
Well, I know. I read all the comments. I like to hear about what people think.
Sure.
But, I mean, look at this play again. This is Michael Ayers with the interception, right? They got 21 points off turnovers. The Bombers did. So think about that. Plus, they missed 2 field goals on dead balls. They took advantage of it. Do you think Edmonton's going to give up 6 turnovers tomorrow? I'd be very surprised.
Oh, yeah.
McLeod gets rid of the ball. McLeod is I think McLeod at this stage is the best choice for Edmonton. I'm not trying to sound like an anti-homer, but I just think that Tre Ford made some mistakes throwing the football. I don't think he had his feet set. I think that he tried to force some scenarios, and then he didn't get help by other guys turning the ball over too. So, I mean, that's the thing, right? But they're at home, and what are the Bombers' home record is something crazy. I can't remember what it was, but 51-17. They've won. I don't know how many at home, but you got a sellout crowd. It's Orange Day.
Yeah,
that was a nice interception. Very nice interception. But Reconciliation Day, that's going to be a big thing. They're bringing in a lot of people from all through the northern territories, northern Manitoba, to watch a football game. I think this is a great thing.
Yeah. Truth and Reconciliation.
And it's sold out.
Is Monday.
Sold out, man. So,
sell out.
Yeah, well,
they
actually did a great job. And I'll say this. I mean, I think it's great that we recognize it. I think it's great to, as they say, to somehow fix the situation that we weren't involved, but whatever. I just think it's a great thing, and diversity and the whole 9 yards. And I'm going to shoot out there. Wap Canoe, thank you for not raising taxes. The gas tax staying the same now till December.
Did he freeze it again?
Yep, he froze it till December. Yeah. So I love that. I mean, because this time these big corporations.
Isn't it 17 cents?
Nice. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
That is crazy. You were talking about Winnipeg's home record. 5-2 is, at this point of the season, the worst home record they've had in recent memory. They're 3-4 away from Princess Auto Stadium, as I still get used to saying that. 3-4 away from home this year. But here are the CFL standings as they stand right now, Chris. They've won the season series against BC. Also, Winnipeg has won the season series against Saskatchewan. And this is the second and final meeting between Winnipeg and Edmonton. And that's why you saw Winnipeg go for points late, because say they do lose the second game of the match, it'll be point differential, right? And you can't count anybody out. It's the crazy football league. No lead is safe in a game. No lead is safe in the standings. I've been saying it over and over again. It's kind of awesome, really.
Okay. Biggest surprise? Calgary. Man, they had a huge, I heard they had a huge brawl in the locker room last week. Argument, pushing, shoving. Really? They had to be separated. Yeah, the vets are saying the rookies don't know how to carry themselves. They don't know the important, I guess there's a lot of things going on. But, that's what happens, right? When you start losing, the cracks in the armor start coming out. And I know that I even saw Dave Dickinson said Craig Dickinson now wants to get out and coach. But I think Dave Dickinson's got too much on his plate. And I love Dave. He's a good guy. I know him personally. But I think that, whenever you try and take over those duplicate roles of GM and head coach, it never works out. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't work out. It's too much on your plate. You can't concentrate what you would need to be concentrating on. I never liked the guy that was coaching me that also was handling my negotiations for my contract. And we had that here in Winnipeg with Cal Murphy did that, and Chris Jones did that.
Dave Ritchie, Ritchie wasn't the GM.
No, Ritchie was a coach. Yeah. Ritchie was a great guy, though. Everybody loved Ritchie.
I was surprised when they fired him.
Yeah, you know what?
With Doug Barry. I understand maybe not everybody was a huge fan of Doug Barry, but I was surprised when they fired him too.
Yeah, I remember him.
Sorry. I was also surprised when they fired Paul LaPolice as the head coach, because he was 9 games removed from bringing the team to the Grey Cup.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Paul's doing well now. I mean, I don't think he wants to leave TV anymore. He's doing a great job. First off, kudos to him. He's doing a great job in the analyst role.
Yeah.
And I love the fact he's showing, he shows the pit. He's showing stuff and stunts. These other guys were so worried about just showing the receivers and the pretty boys and the quarterbacks and all that stuff. I mean, anybody can see that, but show how it happened. What forced him to throw the ball? Did he run for his life? So that's what I like about Paul LaPolice. Now, could he coach again? Absolutely. Does he want to do that now? I mean, he's got ousted in Ottawa. He's got ousted in here. He's coached in Saskatchewan.
I'll say this, Chris. This is what I know for sure. The LaPolice family are very happy in Ottawa.
Yeah, well, it's beautiful. It is a beautiful city. Don't even kid yourself. The Rideau Canal. We used to go down there, and people would be skating in the winter.
Yep.
What's it called?
Well, the Glebe is another area that's kind of around TD Place, the stadium. It's a really cool kind of neighborhood.
I just like the fact I just like when we were in Ottawa, you could cross the bridge and we're in Montreal or Quebec.
Or you're in Hull. Yes, you're in
Hull. Oh, we partied in Hull, baby.
But
we had a hell of a time. I'm telling you right now.
Yes, I have heard.
Oh, it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
Chris, I want you to look at. I want you to look at this play and tell me what you see. This was a critical sack that kept Winnipeg out of field goal range. This was 2nd and 2 on the Edmonton 48. Okay. Yeah. And this would have been into the wind. Mike O'Shea described it as a 12-yard wind, meaning 12 yards difference in kicking one way to the other. But 2nd and 2, play action. Lucky Whitehead misses his block.
Yeah.
And could this be a reason why we're not seeing more Lucky Whitehead in receiver sets?
Well, blocking, he's not a blocker. I mean, the guy's 5'7", 5'8". He's not the biggest cat.
But he just missed his assignment here. Derek Moncrief.
And he's a hell of a – this guy's a stud.
Oh, yeah.
Derek Moncrief's a stud. He comes from back. They're not even fooling him. They can see him coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But, they always say, don't wait back. Watch Whitehead coming across now. They always said, get up to the line, get up to the line, get up to the line. Don't wait there. Get up to the line. I feel like I'm coaching right now.
Well, but it's
you got to
play
get up
action,
to the
right?
line, man.
It's play
You don't
action.
sit back in the quarterback's face. You got to get up on the line. That was his fault completely. And, you saw Zach, unfortunately, takes a hell of a shot here.
Yeah.
He looks down, and I thought for a second when I saw him go down, I thought, because that's the rib cage right there. You can see him there. Oh, that's not good. He's thinking, oh, man. Might have to cancel that barbecue for tomorrow.
Barbecue? For my money, Derek Moncrief, I think, could be the best Sam linebacker or dime backer in the CFL.
You got Winston McManus.
Well, he's a middle linebacker.
Winston, middle linebacker. I like that guy too. He's a good man.
Yeah. Darius Pickett plays a little dime, plays a little weak side.
That's a big loss for Ottawa.
Yeah. Out for the season. Tyrese Beverette. We're talking about MOP. Tyrese Beverette with Montreal. Incredible season. But a defensive back, whether it's Roland Milligan, tied for the CFL lead in interceptions with Tre Ford.
Yeah. But if you look at, and he hasn't played the last game or two, been injured, he's leading the league in pass knockdowns. He's leading the league, and he's tied for the lead with interceptions. He's got a number in special teams. He's got a number. I think he's number one on sketch for special teams. This is a guy that's going to garner a lot of votes for his position and for defense, and rightly so.
That's my question, and I apologize for interrupting.
No, don't apologize.
What will it take for a defensive player, particularly a defensive back, to be in the conversation for most outstanding player or most outstanding defensive player? Because it's the guys you don't hear a lot about that are some of the best players in the league, like a Deatrick Nichols. You need to lead the league in interceptions. You need to have a half a dozen or a dozen special teams tackles for, I don't know, some of the voters to be like, oh yeah, they're good too. I mean, Deatrick Nichols has a tearaway last game for a forced fumble and a recovery.
Yep. Yeah.
And if he does that twice a year, it's nowhere near enough of an impact play for him to show that he should be in that conversation, despite locking down receivers and just being an incredible player that quarterbacks don't want to throw at.
And it's interesting you say that, because that's why a lot of players love the CFLPA awards.
Yep.
And the CFLPA awards are players not on your own team, but from other teams who vote on who they think the best DBs are, who are the best quarterbacks, you know what I mean?
Voted on by their peers, yes.
By their peers, thank you. Best way to put it. And it is they used to put out beautiful little posters. And it's a fantastic honor. I know I was lucky enough to win Lyman twice. And to me, that almost, I was more cheesed about that than winning the CFL award. I just think that's what it was called, total respect, right? That's when your peers are talking about, man, I hated going against that guy, or he's that good, or whatever. That's what I like. And that, to your point, is 100% DB. And that's the thing that's scary about DBs. I mean, if you don't have the stats, sometimes they're overlooked. And but I know the receivers know who number one is. They know who Deatrick Nichols is.
Yeah.
So that's why I put a lot of faith in the CFL PA awards.
Chris, I wanted to talk to you about Zach Collaros, because right off the top, the big question right now for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers is, can this defense be the catalyst and carry this team to a Grey Cup championship? I think they can, because this is what we saw in 2019. It was a, Andrew Harris led offense. Matt Nichols, he gets injured. Enter Chris Streveler. It was a very run heavy attack. There wasn't a lot of threat of passing. And then when Kyle Walters pulled the trigger on the butterfly effect trade that changed so much in the CFL for years to come, in acquiring Zach Collaros from the Toronto Argonauts at the 11th hour and 35 minutes, from Jim Popp before Jim Popp got fired. It's an incredible story of how they got him. But getting Zach Collaros wasn't about, it's not like Zach Collaros threw the lights out in that run to the Grey Cup, but he was enough of a threat to beat you with his arm that things opened up for Andrew Harris. I see this as the same way. Zach Collaros this year is not a world beater, but he is still a very dangerous downfield threat that is allowing Brady Oliveira and some of the other stuff in this offense to operate.
Well, it's interesting you say that because everybody would think that Zach is a pocket passer. But if you watch the games where he's had most success, if he rolls out. He gets out and he finds guys. He throws a great ball when he doesn't have – he actually can throw cross body. I've seen a number of times he makes throws that, most quarterbacks won't make or even attempt. But he does it. And they've got such a – I think Buck Pierce is running a really, really sophisticated and highly efficient offense right now of moving guys around. And they're finding the weak spots. Look at that, right in the zone. And there's two guys there.
Yeah.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
Watch the replay. Yeah.
That one guy ran the wrong route, and that usually brings too many defenders there. But Zach throws it on the button, and Ontario Wilson does the rest. But there should never be two. See, look at that. Look at all the guys who get
Against the grain.
Zach. Look at right there. There's two. That's
great play against the grain. I'm going to show it again. Watch the line go left, and then the receivers come back to the right. It's against the grain, and Collaros looks off the defenders who are suddenly changing direction and then gets rid of it right before the linebacker gets him in the backfield. It was just an incredibly well-executed play.
Watch it one more time. If you can put that one more time, you got to see this defensive end. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, you got to put your hands up. Now he comes up. Watch, here he comes. Look at get your hands up. He doesn't even put his hand up. That's ridiculous.
Well, it's like he puts him up and then pulls him down real quick.
Yeah. Well, maybe because he thinks Zach's going to run around him. But anyway, I tend to be a little bit more critical than most people. But I am critical about the fact there's two receivers. I mean, basically tied together with a belt. It's very lucky they got success there. I mean, Zach threw one interception. He seems to be playing way better the last few weeks. I think he's making way better.
Incredible throw. First play
I thought
of the
it was
game.
an incredible catch.
Yeah, incredible catch.
I think Lawler just makes these circus catches look routine.
Yeah. Now these are, but here's the thing: when Zach Collaros gets intercepted, some people say, "Well, that was not a smart throw. That's putting the ball into danger." This is what makes Zach Collaros so good. That is a ball into danger, but he puts it where really only Kenny Lawler can get it. Darius Bratton there in coverage, but unfortunately, what happens is here's a little bit later in the game. He's doing the same thing to the other side of the field. Target is still Kenny Lawler, but this one is intercepted by Darius Bratton. Yeah. And you could say, well, that's not a smart throw. He shouldn't be throwing that football to that spot. But if Kenny Lawler climbs the ladder and makes the catch.
That one, if you locked it, there's two differences between the two plays.
Yeah.
The one that he caught, it was a throw behind.
Yeah.
If you watch it, Kenny Lawler's behind the cover guy. This time, Kenny's in front of the cover guy, and that you got to overthrow it. You can't underthrow this because he can't come back to it. That is just basically a bad throw, and I hate to say it, but it's a bad throw. It should be overthrown where nobody can at least get it. That's the rule, right? Yep. Throw it over at least so nobody can catch it. Those are the coaching tips for today, kids.
Those are the coaching tips for today. One last one is Zach Collaros. This is something else that we've started to see him do that makes him so dangerous. 2nd and 10, steps up, runs for 21 yards, and gets down early to avoid any risk of contact from a defender. But that was a great play by Zach Collaros. And I think having the threat that he will throw, deep downfield and be accurate, in the intermediate and the short stuff, and then be able to take off like that when a play breaks down is.
Well, if you show that incredible. Again, Patty Neufeld does a phenomenal job. He is your right guard, and watch him crush everything to the inside. Watch, here he goes. He's going to turn around. Now he comes back in. There he is. Look at that. Mm-hmm. That's a great job of opening that hole, not allowing somebody to come back and maybe tackle Zach. But Zach, you got to love when he takes off on a ball.
Right next to him, the right tackle, does a great job on the edge rusher to just one-on-one and seal him.
Well, they're actually doing a twist.
Yeah.
See, they did a twist. 41 came in from the outside. But That's a great job of Zach seeing the opening. It opens up like the Red Sea. It's like Moses, a little faster than Moses, but not much. But he gets out, he's safe. I just make fun of him because I love him. But you know what? He's so nonchalant. He picks a ball, throws it to the ref, just walks at huddle. He's not a rah-rah. If that was Strevler would be jumping up and down. Or if it's Brady Oliveira, he jumps up and smacks his helmet 100 times. And now they got this chicken thing going, the chicken dance, where Popeyes jumped on it. So Popeyes now, every time you get a touchdown, some section is going to get a free box of Popeyes chicken.
There you go.
I think it's phenomenal. Chicken dance.
Yeah, some sort of inside joke between Brady Oliveira and I think Lucky Whitehead was kind of the catalyst of it, but I think it had something to do with we need to something like the wolf gets into the chicken coop. He's like, we got to get back into the chicken, something along those lines. It was a comment in one of the newspapers or maybe Ed Tate's piece on BlueBombers.com, but either way,
I love it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. I wanted to show this play, Chris, which was an interesting one. This led to a field goal that put the Bombers ahead 20-10. But there is your deep threat where the Edmonton Elks are in deep quarters coverage, that being 4 defensive backs playing a zone across the deep part of the coverage. And Collaros just winds up and fires. And this sets up a 23-yard field goal a little bit later.
And you wonder if, because the Elks have made a change at the halfback position. Darius Bratt is now out, and Marcus Lewis, who was there before, is now back in that lineup. When you see this pass, you're wondering, what are these guys doing? It's almost like they're playing prevent. Mm-hmm. And you can't play prevent. I mean, you got 3 guys around the receiver. Why? I mean, he's wide open. But look at how these guys are playing so off. Yeah, I mean, it's not good. And even your buddy Lucius Purefoy, you got to get up there. There's Bratton right there, and all these guys. Come on, man, you got to get up there. Bratton, I think that's why Bratton's gone. But far be it from me to make coaching decisions.
Yes, of course. However, yeah, I think it's Bynum is stepping in for him on that cornerback spot. But of course, McLeod Bethel-Thompson getting the start over a healthy Tre Ford after Ford was part of 6 giveaways against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers just last week. Looking at the injured list for the Edmonton Elks, I was watching this closely all week because I was very curious. New to the injured list, there's Darius Bratton on the 1 game. Is he hurt? Is he not? It's the CFL. He could be healthy. But Gavin Cobb on the 1 game injured list. University of Manitoba Bison, receiver, returner, absolute speedster. Played last week, will not play in this one. But this is the player I was watching, Javon Lee. Yeah. Special Teams Player of the Year in the CFL for the Toronto Argonauts last season. Took home that league award, signs with Edmonton, and has had some incredible games as a running back. What a huge secret weapon, or I guess far from secret weapon, but electric, dangerous offensive weapon that the Edmonton Elks are without for a second straight game against Winnipeg. That's the type of guy they need in order to kind of get the offense going, because Winnipeg's defense, as we've been talking about, it's just been dominant.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's the biggest thing. I mean, sometimes you got to make change for change's sake. I think that Winnipeg don't have to make a lot of changes. I think they wanted to bring an extra D lineman in because they want to make sure they can't get run on. They gave up 195 yards. It's a lot of yards, my friend.
Yeah, so, my dog. So.
Yeah, Luca. Yeah. Oh, well, don't worry about my dog.
I was going to say, lift your microphone. I'll share a little old story. Back in our TSN radio days, Chris, I used to have to elbow you in the gut every time because it'd be like your microphone farther and farther away. And I'd be like, get up there. People want to hear Chris Walby.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I do have a tendency to rock back. I saw the comments last week when we were doing our show. Somebody goes, "What's that squeaking noise in the background?"
It's your chair.
It's an old chair.
Yeah, but it's like an old pair of shoes, right? If they're comfy, they're comfy. What are you gonna do?
I got to get a new chair. It's missing a wheel too. I just got to break down and get a
just
new
like
chair.
You. Just like you.
Yeah,
missing a gear upstairs.
Yeah.
Looking at the Blue Bombers depth chart for week 17 against the Edmonton Elks, no changes to the starting lineup, but you mentioned Devin Adams stepping in at defensive tackle.
Brian Cole back too.
Pardon me? Brian Colback.
And
Yes,
Brian
thank
Cole, who's a heck of a special team guy.
Yeah, and he's been a very good weak side linebacker and dimebacker too. Griffin has made some great plays. They kind of kick him out everywhere in different zone looks and that sort of thing. Say they'll move Deatrick Nichols inside, have Bonds drop to halfback, and they'll have Griffin. Of course, this would be when the defense is flipped, but they'll have Griffin kind of drop into a cornerback spot, and they'll rotate the coverage just to kind of confuse the opposing offense. Paul Apolice did a great video on his YouTube channel. Go check that out, by the way. Awesome. Yeah. Explaining a lot of the finer points of football in really understandable terms. Showed all of these different things that Winnipeg's defense is doing. And like, look, as we have these MOP conversations, Chris, I say it a little bit tongue in cheek. I've been kind of joking about it for a while now. New defensive coordinator for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Jordan Younger. He's my MOP this season. He's been awesome.
I think he's done a great job. And I mean, you know, he's also working in conjunction with Richie Hall, who basically stepped down as being the head defense coordinator, and now he's just an assistant. But I think the two of them gel. They work very – it's funny, you haven't heard Richie Hall at all. I haven't heard nothing. But Jordan Younger, you know, former DB, much like Richie Hall. But I thought their game plan last week was absolutely spot on. You're right. They have this defense playing so good. I mean, they're number one net D. They don't allow it. They're number one against the pass. Yeah, they give up a bit of running yards, but they don't. You know, it's almost like, I hate to use that term. He used to use it, and Westy used to do, as a bend, don't break. You know what I mean? They'll give up the yards, but then they don't give up the big play, right? So,
yep.
And it's funny when you say it, because the defense, to me, has to start covering, because the offense still is, you know, the lowest scoring, the lowest amount of touchdowns, the lowest 30-yard plus completions. They've got a lot of things, but they're getting better. That's what happens with stats when you have to encompass them for the whole year. It doesn't show you how you do in the last 5 weeks, and I think they're doing very well in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah. Quick look at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers injured list. Defensive tackle Miles Fox on the one game. Same with defensive tackle Canadian, global Kyle Sampson. Adam Bighill on the 6 game. His season is done. Same too with Jamal Parker, Dalton Schoen, and Chris Streveler, all out for the season. Gabe Wallace, new to the 6 game injured list this week. Yeah. Kyrie Wilson, to catch you up, if you didn't know last week, he was a late scratch, went out onto the field in Edmonton for warm-ups and must have re-aggravated something. Did not play. Now he's back on the 6 game injured list again. Drew Wolodarski, I think this is his 2nd week on the 6 game injured list. Cameron Lawson, I think I maybe failed to mention, his season is over as well. So Lawson, Parker, Schoen, Streveler, and Adam Bighill all out for the season for Winnipeg. But other than those, 5 starting caliber players, I mean, Chris Streveler's not the starter, but all the others were projected starters coming out of training camp. They're done for the season. But outside of that, Winnipeg has been healthier as of late, Chris. Their man games lost, starter man games lost. They've already eclipsed their number from last season, so it has been a worse season overall just to this point. That doesn't include, say Adam Bighill and the remaining, 4 games in Winnipeg's schedule. It doesn't even count those. So it's been a tough year in that sense.
Well, it's a tough year. And then, if I'm looking across at my rivals right now, at the enemy, if you would, the Edmonton Elks, and it is a stat that just jumped out at me, and that's no team in the history of CFL has started the season 0-7 and made the playoffs. But Jarius Jackson's talking to his guys saying the way the West is, if there's ever a must-win game for the Elks, it's tomorrow. It really is. They have to, because if Winnipeg wins, there you go, great point. They clinch a postseason berth again. And then they'd have the divisional against Edmonton, Calgary, everybody. They own it against everybody. So, I mean, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Winnipeg would be the second team this season to clinch a playoff berth, as the Montreal Alouettes clinched fifth straight season back in week 13. Here's the quick crossover rule. I won't read through it, but you can pause the video and read that to get clarity on the crossover rule. And then, of course, the CFL standings. Here's the Bombers' remaining schedule. At Hamilton next week, home to Toronto, then their week 20 bye, and then at the Montreal Alouettes. Beating Ottawa last week. That could be a nothing game for the Alouettes, so we'll see how that is determined when it comes to meaningfulness in that game. But you mentioned it. No team has started 0-7 and made the playoffs. The Edmonton Elks at 5-9 definitely have a shot.
Well, sure they do. I mean, that's the thing. Stats are stats for wiping your rear end. That's what I say. I don't like stats, but I like to throw them out there once at a time. But I do think that, I like where Edmonton's going. They won 5 of the last 7. Yep. So they're not horrible. You know what I mean? They're actually getting better. But
they got two quarterbacks that can win games.
Yeah. I wasn't blown away by it.
Hey, Chris, Chris, the Edmonton Elks entered last week with the number 1 ranked offense in the majority of important categories.
Yeah, they still have the number 1 offense, I think. Yeah, number 1 points. Number 1
but they hadn't played
touchdown,
Winnipeg.
43.
They hadn't played this Winnipeg defense. That's the difference.
Yeah, no, this is the best defense. I mean, Montreal's good too, though. Don't go crazy. I mean, Sankey in the middle over there. Toronto's got a good defense. They're picking up guys, Beverett, and I like Winston McManus is back. Yeah. Hamilton's getting better. I think Bo Levi's playing well right now, throwing a ball like he did when he was MOP.
They only got one direction to go, and that's up because they're on the mat.
Oh, look at you, man! You know what they say: fast drop from the penthouse to the outhouse, my friend.
On that note, Chris, let's go from the outhouse back to the penthouse with your keys to the game, critical for the Bombers to accomplish and win a 7th straight at a sold-out Madhouse on Matheson Friday night.
Well, okay, DB, this is what I'm thinking. Offensively, you got to take advantage of the turnovers. Last week, they had 4 in the first half and only had a 3-0 lead. That's not going to help. So continue to pound Brady Oliveira. We said this last week. We wanted more bully ball. I agree that again. And I thought it was a kind of a cool keynote that Bombers are 5-0 when Brady rushes for 100-plus yards. Defense, you got to really put pressure on McLeod Bethel-Thompson because he's got experience. He can throw the football. He's got great receivers. He's smart with the pre-snap read. But the biggest thing for the defense, you got to stop that run game because they had 195 total yards against them last week. And then in special teams, Sergio, make friends with the goalposts. Go make friends with him because you hit 2 goalposts or 2 uprights last week, and you know you're better than that. And I don't want to really get into anything else on special teams because I'm just that kind of guy, man. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful day at Princess Auto Stadium tomorrow, Zeke. Hey, you're going there, aren't you, Darrin?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there. I always
All
go.
right, I'll be at the lake. I have to go to the lake because I think it's maybe not. The weather's getting nice. I was going to take my boat out, but maybe I'll leave it in for a little bit, but we'll see. I don't want to be one of those guys that leaves it and the blizzard comes, so.
You've been that guy before?
Anyway, those are my keys, my friend.
Well, hang tight. I do have to draw attention to our very gracious sponsor, Scotswood Links. 18 holes of well-developed golf goodness. They have their membership promo on right now. So if you buy your membership for the 2025 season, you golf for free the rest of this season. Don't mind your Bonfire Hat's available too at 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚. Link in the description.
Those are nice,
below.
yeah.
But Scotswood is still in great shape. Just 30 minutes west of Winnipeg, right around, you start at McGilvery in the perimeter. You're there in 25. It's absolutely amazing. Beautiful new clubhouse. You like to call it Matt Dunnigan's house back in his Blue Bombers playing days. But private banquet facilities for weddings, corporate events, celebratory functions, and more all through the winter. Absolutely gorgeous Prairie Meadow and Prairie Forest golf course. There's Dunnigan's house. Now, of course, that's the beautiful clubhouse at Scotswood Links in Elm Creek, Manitoba. And now you're ready to go.
I'm ready, brother. This is the way it's going to work. The Bombers going to be another win tomorrow. 7 in a row. Clinching playoff spot. You can take that to the bank, baby.